चलाती है,
कार चलाती है
उसने हिमालयन यहाँ पे फर्स्ट की थी ना, इंडिया पूरा चलाते
तो उसका नाम था ना वो बसंती।
Basanti and the 452
Norley.
The 452 she has named it Basantu. तो उसके इची बूट्स के वीडियो में जो लिंक शेड की हम चढ़ाई करके गए थे ना,
वो नीचे
आई है और वो डॉट्स दिख रहे हैं उसमें। So first thing I wanted to do was to send everybody that video कि देखो ये हम क्लाइंब करके गए।
तो नीचे आना इज मोर चैलेंजिंग टेक्निकली ऑन दोस ट्रैक्स।
नीचे आना इज मोर चैलेंजिंग और ऊपर जाना इज
नहीं, नीचे आना बिकॉज़ ब्रेक्स पे आना पड़ेगा,
ब्रेक में
ऊपर जाने के लिए इट वाज वेरी इजी।
ऊपर तो बस थ्रॉटल करना है ना।
हां,
जब रट्स वगैरह भी आ रहे हैं तो थ्रॉटल करो।
Hi guys, I'm Abhinav. This is Jasveen and we have Yudhvir here. These guys ride big ADV motorcycles, so do I. And we were just talking about the Himalayan 452 and I thought that let's just have this little conversation on camera about what our expectations are from motorcycling. We've all ridden for at least almost a decade now, big bikes. 7-8 years.
7-8 years, yeah.
7-8 years, we've all ridden big bikes. We've had experience with big ADVs as well. You ride a Tiger 900, you previously had a Tiger 800. You had a Tiger 800 and you now ride a GS 1200 and you've had it for a few years now.
Yeah, so we are used to the bigger.
Yeah, we're used to the bigger motorcycles. So the conversation was centered around, wanting to upgrade to a newer motorcycle. But by upgrade, we don't mean a bigger motorcycle. We mean a smaller motorcycle that does almost everything that a big motorcycle would, but being easier to maneuver, easier to fix, cheaper to run. And this is where the conversation revolves around the Himalayan 452. Now, the specifications of the Himalayan 452, they're all out there. I mean, nothing is official, but sub 200 motorcycle, sub 200 kilo motorcycle, about 40 bhp, good travel in the suspension, good ground clearance. Reasonably big motorcycle, so you'd be comfortable. A big guy would be comfortable. A small guy wouldn't be that uncomfortable because if Norley is riding it, she's 5'5", 5'6", let's say.
Basically approachable.
So everybody can probably
medium
be
sort
on
of
that
seat height. Yeah.
So you guys were telling me about what is the biggest concern switching to a Himalayan from a big motorcycle.
Me?
Yeah, because component quality, etc. You were so little light on that.
So the only thing which was coming as a botheration to us was making this bike kind of ticks all the check boxes that we always think of in an ideal motorcycle.
Yeah.
So we were wondering that will be a very good machine. However, then it crossed our mind that at a price point, what RE would be offering, and since our markets are so price sensitive and competitive, what sort of component quality would go in making such a machinery?
Yeah.
And so that bothers us, that would it be able to equate to the kind of quality of components that we are used to riding our big bike?
Yeah.
So we were thinking that RE should price it higher and give a better quality and reliability, but then again comes down the same thing. Everybody is looking for volumes.
Yeah.
And they have to be into a price ladder and in the market with volumes. I think they will have to go with a lower price strategy or a value to price equation which appeals to people.
So the trend that I've seen of late with the last few launches is to price it lower than the expectations of the market. So like that Triumph came in at 2.23 lakhs, inaugural 2.33 and then 10,000 rupee discount, so effectively 2.23 lakh rupee motorcycle. Now, what I fear is that the motorcycle might look very nice to begin with, but what happens 2 years, 3 years down the line? Does it hold its quality? Does it start to rust? How good are the bolts? Because our motorcycles now my motorcycle is a 2017 model. Yours is a 2017 model. 2023 is ending. My bike is as good as new. So is yours. We get it serviced once a year and absolutely nothing else. So
I mean, there's nothing wrong.
That is what I
with the bigger components
Yeah.
and with the nuts, bolts, as you mentioned, clips, wires, everything remains good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, but I feel that you're talking about the long term. I am more concerned about the where are they cutting corners in terms of getting the cost down.
Yeah.
So it might not just be long term. It might be maybe just after 3-4 months of riding the motorcycle. Are there any areas that crucial areas which might play with the peace of mind that we have? We as riders who are used to riding bigger motorcycles, premium motorcycles, we have that peace of mind that if I am riding a Tiger or a Triumph motorcycle, he is riding a BMW, he will not worry about smaller things, cropping up in the middle of the ride and completely getting you in a situation where the ride ends.
Yeah, like a fuel pump
Yes.
or a relay or a
Starter issue, fuel pump stuff, or
So
in general the quality. That's the
yeah.
biggest concern. I mean, you can put in all the specs. How do all these things come together in a package? That is something that I'm concerned about.
So, my first experience with the Royal Enfield was in 2018 when the Interceptor was launched. I wasn't really a Royal Enfield fan, but the Interceptor, it was priced spectacularly low. Nobody could have thought that, they're going to price a twin-cylinder motorcycle at the range I would say. While it was a great motorcycle, it still is, there were quality issues.
Yes.
The exhaust started to rust, the headlight dome, some bolts, etc. But since then, even though it was a big step up in quality, when the J series engine came out in the Meteor, the Classic, Hunter, the quality levels have been consistently going up. So I would like to give Royal Enfield the benefit of the doubt that with the Himalayan, because the Himalayan is it's a global model. All their models are global models, but this is something that every international forum that I read, everybody wants a 450cc travel enduro motorcycle.
Yes.
So this is a model that cannot fail for Royal Enfield. So I don't think they will cut corners that much. But now you are a person who's from the auto industry. You know how these things work. Now Jasveen and I, we'd sit here and we'd say something like, instead of let's say the 2.7 lakh rupees that people are expecting, launch the bike at 4 lakh rupees ex-showroom, but just load it up with quality premium parts.
Yeah.
Good quality bolts and whatnot. But that is not possible, right? So if you could just from an auto industry perspective, tell us how this works, how pricing is calculated and how they try and bring it low.
See, I am also a downstream person. Mostly on the sales and marketing side, and I've always worked in the industry towards that part of the business. But as I've always been quoting to you, that on the upstream side, things are way different. I mean, there it is purely commercial, purely strategic, which paves the path for whatever we discuss afterwards. So for a project like this, probably when the PP product planning department would have made a project report, they look at certain number of volumes and they work out commercials around it. Obviously, they put in exports into it and they consider a life cycle as well. And obviously, in between serial changes that they would do and how long would they keep this model running. And then, based on all this, there is a calculation which is made, and the project has to be live, practically. Now, I mean, if the marketing or the sales department does not accept this 4 lakh, 4.5 lakh price, and they're only saying they'll be able to sell at 3.5 lakh, the project cost would go down to 3.5 lakh. So, engineering, design, everybody would start working towards meeting the target price, which sales and marketing is saying. So, it works this way. So, while we simply sit across the table and say that RE should, look at component quality and maybe charge a little more, but it's only few of us who think like this. As far as masses are concerned, they will compare this motorcycle with the other ones which are available and then make a decision. So, how can RE be isolated and simply make a product which they think is out of the market?
So basically, they will decide the price first, and that will govern everything in terms of whatever they put in on the
Always like this. You always work backwards.
Backwards, yeah.
And it is, how would a project fly off if you don't even know how much would it cost?
Yeah, yeah.
So that is why the discussions out there are on paisas,
Right.
50 paisa, 20 paisa, 1
really?
rupee.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because everything compounds to the total cost. So everyone has a targeted price to work on.
So what I feel is that the price being speculated by most people is 2.7 lakh rupees. That probably
Really?
the base variant, if there are multiple variants, the base variant will be 2.7. I have a feeling Ari might just try and bring it under 2.5, like 2.49. And this is where I'm really scared. That again, charge a little bit more, but give us that slightly better quality motorcycle. Because really, I'm done with the Tiger. I love the Tiger to bits.
But the initial pricing strategy that you're talking about sometimes may not be reflective of, say, the quality thing that you're correlating at such a low price and how they match the quality. Sometimes the price strategy at the time of the launch is purely a marketing expense in order to get volume.
Okay.
Because in a country like ours, if a product
Booking numbers going.
if a
basically.
product does not do well within the launch period,
Yeah.
it fails. Because Indians generally,
Yeah.
they are like this. If they reject something, then it is rejected forever.
Yeah.
So generally, every manufacturer try to. If you would have seen latest launches, even 4-wheelers, 2-wheelers, they would try to give a price which is seemingly lower than what people are expecting them
Yeah.
in order to
Yeah.
capture as much as possible. So that is the initial pricing strategy. Afterwards, people forget about the price. Once
Yeah,
once it
that's
starts
true.
selling
That's
and
true.
when you see on the road, people forget what was
And the price keeps creeping up and up and up. Every
Yeah,
6
yeah.
months it goes up by 5,000, 10,000.
which you don't realize.
Yeah.
But if
Yeah.
the product is doing good,
If
and
the product is
everything
going good, nobody would mind, right?
Nobody
The
would
5 or
mind,
10k
yeah.
increase.
And anyway, you paid 2.5 lakh rupees ex showroom or you paid 3 lakh rupees ex showroom, even if you're picking it up on EMIs, the difference is not much. It's not a lot for a period
Yeah.
of 3 years or 4 years. Let's say if somebody goes for it.
but it becomes a talk
Yeah.
in terms of pricing.
Yes.
When
Creates a
somebody says-
negative perception that this product is expensive. But again, I really wish that mentality changes slightly because people should realize you ultimately get what you pay for. So if you're paying more, probably you're also getting more of a motorcycle.
Yeah. But I feel that the audience who buys the Royal Enfield, for example, you talked about the Interceptor, they are ready to compromise in some sense with quality.
But
See how they have compromised with the wobbling issue or the other issues that have come up with the Interceptor, and still there is so much love for the motorcycle,
yeah.
even after all those issues, simply because the price point worked for them.
Yeah. So what I feel is the market that Royal Enfield is playing right now, the middleweight segment 650. There are two kinds of audience here. One which is upgrading. The other which already has a big bike and they want a slightly easier motorcycle to
second
live
bike,
with. So almost a lot of my friends who were street triple riders or tiger riders, they got themselves an Interceptor and they had a good time with the bike. So, but again, these are the people with the same common complaints that we want a slightly more premium quality motorcycle. And the Interceptor has improved in leaps and bounds when it comes to quality. Look at the new ones that have just come out. It's a quality motorcycle.
Okay.
So, by that logic, I feel. Achha, Yudhvir, what about this? Now, again, I understand having two assembly lines is not possible for the same product. That you have one assembly line which produces a higher quality export model, which is also sold as a, let's say, an X model or an S model, a special model. What do you think about that? Does that happen? Is it possible? Anything like that?
I do not know. As I mentioned, I'm not directly into manufacturing, but it seems quite challenging to me to have an assembly line
It's very difficult.
with a diversity of kind of two components being used. You can have variants.
Right.
You can have a motorcycle with some less features on the same assembly line.
Right.
You cannot have two kind of components going into a same.
It can't happen. It can't happen because basically every company is wanting to adopt a modular approach, right?
Right.
Where 5 or 6 base components are there, and maybe in the next version some other components can be added on top of it.
Okay.
A separate assembly line is totally out of question. I don't think that happens.
Right. So, Jasveen, this is as good a time to tell you guys he has booked the Himalayan 452. I don't know if you were keeping it as a surprise.
No,
to reveal
don't
later.
mention it. Don't mention
So,
it in the video.
No, now it's one take video. So, Jasveen, what made you book a Himalayan
It's a
450.
notional booking.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
he
I've
thinks
made a
that he has
booking.
booked, whereas
But
there is no process.
Why? You
right
just
now.
bought yourself like 4-5 months ago. You bought yourself a Tiger 900 Rally, which is a spectacular motorcycle.
Yes.
What made you book a Himalayan 450?
First of all, the amount that I paid is refundable. It doesn't hurt, right? I've just paid 10K. Uh, and by the time it hits the dealerships or it is ready for deliveries, a lot of views would have come about the motorcycle. I think I would have written it
Yeah.
even before it gets to the dealers or where deliveries start. So I think at that time, maybe a month before the actual delivery happens, I will get a chance to ride it and get a proper feel of the motorcycle. Then I will reevaluate whether I really want to continue with the booking that I've made. Yeah, that's what I have in mind. Apart from that, the buzz around the motorcycle is enormous, and everyone is kind of thinking that it could be one of the most hyped, and in terms of specs also it seems very promising. So if I end up loving it, it's going to be a very big challenge. Keeping two motorcycles.
So then, what do you do? Are you going to get rid of the Tiger?
I'll have to wait for it unless I ride it. It's very difficult to take a call
But
right now.
if it justifies your needs,
Yeah.
which is a good touring motorcycle, if you can sit on the highway at 130 kilometers an hour,
Yeah.
if it has a tank range of 450 kilometers,
So, see, I'm pretty sure it will do 130 km. It will have the tank range. It will have all the things that are needed to tow. The thing is, how do you feel riding at 130 kmph on a Himalayan versus how do you feel
that's the
while riding a Tiger at
That's
130
the
kmph? The refinedness of the motorcycle, the overall experience is way different. And
yeah.
an inexperienced person would say these things are matching tick box 130 yes, seat height yes, 40 bhp yes, but the overall feel is very different.
So what I feel is, on paper, a motorcycle might be a winner, but then how does that translate into the riding experience? Even
Yeah.
while riding, it might do everything pretty good.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't excite you,
Yes.
is there any point riding that motorcycle?
I think that is much more important.
Yeah,
Much more
I
important.
feel that.
Yeah.
So, for example, the Honda CB350, it's a brilliant motorcycle on paper, it's a brilliant motorcycle to ride, but it's just is very boring. And that is why I don't really like that motorcycle. I prefer a Royal Enfield with a slightly lesser performance but a little bit more excitement in the way it makes you feel when you ride it. Similarly, the new Speed 400. Now, it's a great motorcycle. It's a fast bike, good looking
40
motorcycle, 40 horsepower. On paper, it does everything right. But again, the feedback that a lot of people are sharing is it's a boring motorcycle. So,
Yeah.
maybe the Himalayan needs to have that little bit of extra pep. Maybe you gear it or your power delivery should be such that it just should feel a little exciting. And I guess that is what motorcycling is all about, because we are not looking at the commuter segment.
Yeah.
We are choosing to ride the motorcycle for leisure.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, when we are talking about these specs, you look at the KTM 390 Adventure. It's gonna be offering the exact same specs, right? It has the same specs.
Almost.
So I don't think Himalayan is offering something very different from a
Yeah.
spec standpoint.
Yeah.
It's just that Royal Enfield is coming up with something that is matching up to the existing stuff, which is KTM 390 Adventure. I had the 390 Adventure, but for me the experience was bullshit. I didn't
Why-
like
why
the
is
motorcycle.
that? Why
I don't
did you
know.
not?
I found that the riding geometry didn't suit me.
Okay.
First of all, I'm used to riding a motorcycle where you are sitting like inside the motorcycle, where the tank is a little
Right,
higher than
right,
your seat.
right.
I'm not that dirt bike sort of a guy where the tank and the seat at the same level. There was a lot of wind blast in the KTM 390 Adventure. Whenever I used to ride it on the highway, too much wind hitting me, no matter what sort of wind speed you use. So, I mean, we're going to a different topic, but that's why I sold it. Although it had everything on paper.
Yeah.
You
But
would
you didn't
have-
feel that
I
connect with
did
the bike.
feel the connection with the bike. I'll tell you, in the 6 months that I had the motorcycle, there were moments that I just didn't want to ride the bike. I had the time, but I just didn't feel like taking out the motorcycle.
Okay.
And given a choice, if I had a Tiger at that time, I would have definitely ridden it just because of the experience or
Right.
how I associate with the motorcycle.
Yeah.
So that's what it's going to come down to, and that's something that you can only get to know when you ride the motorcycle, not basis the specs.
That's
But the worst thing is when you have a motorcycle
Hmm.
and you can't ride it because you don't like it anymore.
Yes, yes,
For anybody who loves motorcycle, this is the worst thing.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
Because you have time, you want to ride, but the machine
Hmm.
which is in front of you, you don't like it.
Yeah.
It's a very popular motorcycle, but I didn't like it.
No,
That's
I
how-
agree with that. Let's talk about the Himalayan in the market and a little bit of competition perspective. You've ridden the GS 310 for a little while. Again, a very good bike on paper, but a very soulless motorcycle, right?
Yeah. So this is what I explained to you. It doesn't have a soul.
Yeah.
So also there's nothing to excite.
Right.
It is plain Jane, and you sometimes wonder why BMW went ahead and made a motorcycle like this. I mean,
Right.
there's nothing, practically nothing to offer.
Right. So the real competition, I feel, doesn't exist currently in the market. The real competition might just come down a year from now when Hero launches the bigger XPulse. We've all seen spy shots in Ladakh, and recently it was being tested in Jaipur. Shots, photos and videos just came out. The
alongside
KTM
the
390 Adventure, they must be benchmarking it against that. Now, again, that is a good bike on paper because long travel suspension, 21-inch spoke wheel at the front, 18 at the rear. Sources have speculated and said that it's a 421cc engine which makes about 40 horsepower, close to 40 newton meters of torque. They might just retune it to about 38 horsepower. But I feel it's a bike that will be lighter than the current Himalayan, and I feel 200 kg weight is not a problem. The question of a heavy bike or a light bike doesn't arise when the curb weight is 200 kilos in your touring, because we're used to near 300 kilo motorcycles fully loaded up. So I feel that the real competition is going to arrive a year down the line. Till then, the Himalayan is going to rule the market because there are no options. And maybe when the next generation KTM 390 Adventure comes up, probably more competition. But the Himalayan will be the market leader for at least a good solid 6 to 8 months, because what I see is every YouTuber is going to run and buy a Himalayan, and then there will be a race to go to Ladakh. First Himalayan 452 at Ladakh, but they wouldn't know that Itchy Boots has already done it even before it's in the market. So anyway, I feel that the next Ladakh season, which begins April, May, you'll find Himalayan 452s there.
Yes. But
It's a good thing. I mean, we'll have an option.
Yeah. I'm very excited about the Himalayan 452. But okay, last thing, again from an industry perspective, it is always said that you should avoid the first batch of motorcycle or car or whatever that comes out. This is especially reiterated when it comes to a Royal Enfield motorcycle. Could you shed a little bit of light on that?
I don't know why we say it like this. I mean, if in the industry, if there are project milestones and everything goes through a process, it is very well organized. So, I mean, you can also look at it like this: that the quality processes are more stringent. People are more careful because they are establishing something new. So maybe it is even better than when it becomes a run-of-the-mill production item in the end. So I don't think so. I mean, the only thing which can go wrong is if there is a historically, if the company has gone wrong on the engineering side, which means they developed some components, and those components have a tendency to fail. Then it doesn't have to do anything in the initial lot or final lot, because the company has the history of going bad on engineering. So if you are hinting towards engineering failures, then obviously this initial lot is something which is a risk, because the company is trying to establish durability with the customers.
Right. But then again, this is the first liquid-cooled engine that Royal Enfield is making. But if we take a look at the company right now, it has a lot of ex-Triumph engineers. A lot of engineering takes place at the UK headquarters, and they also have Harris Performance in the picture. I believe the chassis has been worked by a lot of people who worked on the Triumph and the Tramontana or whatever that rally 800 was or 900 was project. So I have a good feeling about this bike, and I think I would like to leave it at that. If you guys would want to offer.
No. So
any
times
closing
are
remarks.
changing. We have seen Royal Enfield now growing very strong on the quality side. On the Interceptor, whatever we may say, but we didn't had any issues on the engine side and the big components as such. It was okay on the geometry. Something went wrong, etc., or smaller items. But net with the times, I think quality obviously is improving. RE is doing better, so we cannot compare RE historically with something which was long ago.
Right.
And as you said, I'm also excited about it. And to clarify, there are no bookings open for 450. What
Yeah.
Jasveen has done
Jasveen has just gone
for his
and
own
paid his
satisfaction, he has-
local dealership that मेरे लिए रख लेना बाइक मेरे को पहली वाली चाहिए. I'm going to make videos around it.
people like the ones who want the first motorcycle.
Yes.
They do what
they
he's done.
do spread these bad
First
practices.
Royal Enfield Himalayan 452 on Noida Greater Noida Express.
Yes.
Any closing remarks, Jasveen?
No, I am also very excited. And let's hope it lives up to the expectation. It's going to sell. I mean, there is no doubt about
Yeah.
it, considering the marketing
Yeah.
geniuses that are there in RE.
What a brilliant move by getting Itchy Boots to just ride that bike. You've suddenly given it a global audience even before the bike is out. The day the Scrambler 400X, the pricing came out, the reviews came out.
Just
I
before
think
that.
just a day before, on the very same day, Royal Enfield released that Instagram video, 1-minute video of the Himalayan, and I saw nobody talking about the Scrambler. Everybody was talking about the Himalayan that day. So brilliant marketing by them.
So when we were there at the event,
Oh, you were at the
yes,
Scrambler.
the Scrambler 400X event, media ride, everyone was talking about them. That's how
That's how
hugely
shameless people are.
anticipated.
When they go out for an event of a
That's how hugely anticipated the Himalayan 452 is.
So basically, marketing is a ship herder, and we are the sheep.
Yeah.
We will buy whatever comes out.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll leave it at that. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, let us know in the comments. We'll try to do more of these because we ride together. So sitting here having a cup of coffee, we can have some chats.
Cup of coffee or frappes.
You had a coffee.
We had
one
4
cup of coffee.
liters of coffee.
All right, guys. Bye bye. Take care.